totally ignored manufacturing.
Mr. Tonko,
yes, sir.
Excuse me, may I interrupt you for a moment?
Absolutely.
You mentioned something that we actually talked about last week, and I want to hand you this chart. Would you hold that one up there?
Sure.
And let me go back into the microphone. You mentioned the effort that we made in the 2002 change from a manufacturing economy to what this chart calls a FIRE economy: finance, insurance, and real estate. A FIRE economy, one that collapsed because it was about manipulating money. Instead of creating mechanical engineers and chemical engineers and nuclear engineers, we created financial engineers. The result? Not good. The Great Recession. Please, excuse me for interrupting.
No, that's fine, and it's a valid point. And so where was that linear? Where was that outreach, that extension into all of America with the good products we developed that would serve this nation well? And so what we're talking about now is bringing back some programs. What was ignored was the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, MEP. MEP is a program I hear about all the time from my manufacturers who are still clinging on, who are working, trying to be productive, offering hope to the worker. They're saying, where's the MEP program? Well, it was brought back last year, and it's reinstated in the budget this year. The request to Congress is to support the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. What does that do? It's an MEP program. Okay, it's alphabet soup. But what does it do? It allows for manufacturers, small and medium-sized businesses, small and medium-sized manufacturing firms, to develop additional markets. The President has said, let's get into exporting. Let's build it in America and export to the world. That's a vibrant economy. And also, it enables us to define, to explore new opportunities, and to adopt those technologies and retrofit our manufacturing base with that know-how, with that productivity margin growing. That means greater opportunity for us to compete in the global market, to create jobs, and to provide hope again for the worker. So it is good to see that MEP, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, is back in this budget. And it's a statement. It's a statement that we care about manufacturing, we care about small and medium-sized businesses, and that we are going to see that as the springboard, the economic springboard to the economic recovery that we so much deserve. And it's about priorities. That's what a budget is. It's like, where are you putting your investment? How are you developing that formula? And what is the hope that you anticipate that is translating to America's working families? This is the moment. This is the moment for us to move forward by reigniting the American dream, doing it through small and medium-sized business, the pulse of the American enterprise, investing in those dreamers, those movers, those builders, those entrepreneurs, and then resulting in a thriving middle class. And again, where there's a thriving middle class, you have a strong democracy. So the American dream, reignite the American dream, and gentlemen, we have work to do.
Indeed we do. We have much work to do, and Mr. Altimire, you've been working long and hard here in the U.S. Congress on these issues. Carry on this discussion.
I wanted to transition into talking about the trade deficit that we're facing in this country, but before I did that, I did want to just close the loop with what Mr. Tonko and Mr. Garamendi have been talking about for my colleagues. And I hear a lot back home. We'll have town hall meetings, you'll have discussions with people about federally funded research. And it seems as though there's always an example somewhere of a research project that seems on the surface to be unjustifiable. In some cases, people will argue it's ridiculous that we're funding certain things. And I just wanted to, for my colleagues, give a couple of examples of federally funded research that has paid huge dividends for our everyday life. There was, in the late 1970s and early 1980s, a big national story about federally funded research that was studying the eyesight of eagles. And at the time, it was considered to be a mockery, and it was of no use to society, and it was a waste of money. Well, lo and behold, what did we get out of that research? We got night vision goggles for our troops serving overseas in the military battlefield. We got soft contact lenses. We got so many innovations from that type of research. The touch screen on our everyday iPad was federally funded research out of the University of Delaware, of course, many years after what I'm speaking of. The GPS system that so many of us rely on, federally funded research. The Internet, created, as we all know, through the Pentagon and federally funded research. So I would say to my colleagues, for those who may be skeptical that certain projects, and I'm sure there are some that you can point to that haven't paid dividends, but there are some that maybe on the surface didn't sound like a good idea in the beginning that have paid huge dividends. And I would go back to that example studying the eyesight of eagles. LASIK eye surgery was a byproduct of that type of research. So investment is what we're talking about. It just pays back so much more than what we're paying into it by research and development. The R&D tax credit has to be made permanent. That is a key part of this. The manufacturing extension partnership that the gentleman was talking about, a key part of our future in this country, bringing back a resurgent manufacturing base. Because what happens if you don't do that? What happens if you aren't competitive in the global economy is what this chart shows. Now, this will come as no surprise to our colleagues. This is the U.S. trade deficit from 1976 through 2008. And as you can see, you don't even need to look at the numbers, and you can see it's heading in the wrong direction. It has been heading in the wrong direction for a very, very long time. And there's a lot of reasons why this is. Some of it has to do with our foreign competitors and them getting their act together and joining the world competition in a way that they hadn't before. But a lot of it has to do with our own policies and the fact that we have not invested. We have not had a strategic manufacturing strategy in this country, and we were a little bit slow to react to what was happening overseas. But the role that we have in this House is to change that. And we have a decision to make in this country. Are we going to continue to allow this to happen, to just sit back and wait while other countries continue to improve, to modernize, to become more cost efficient, become more competitive, and continue to make this trend worse for the American worker? Or are we going to take action? Are we going to invest in our future? Are we going to change the way that we do our manufacturing strategy to incentivize making products in America? And we talked a couple of weeks ago, the gentleman from California and I, on this very floor about a provision of our tax code, which may very well be, in my opinion, the most egregious and unjustifiable provision in the entire federal tax code, which is if you have physical assets, if you have a plant in this country, a manufacturing plant, and you want to move that plant overseas, you're going to close your operations, you're going to get rid of your American workers, you're going to move your physical assets, literally move those assets overseas. In some cases, you can get a tax deduction for the cost of your moving expenses. The American taxpayer, believe it or not, will cover the cost to move that plant overseas. Well, that's ludicrous. There's no reason why that provision should exist, and that's one of the reasons why you see the chart going in the wrong direction, because we have been slow to react. But we're at a turning point in this country, and we have a tremendous opportunity in front of us to do the right thing, to change the policies that have led to our trade deficit, and to begin turning the corner and heading in the right direction.
Thank you very much for pointing out the eye of the eagle.